Beginning to get cold. On this video, I'm going to talk about gear when it gets cold and some of the switches that I make. I'm going to go through my gear. Me and Dad are planning on doing some hunting this late season together. I want my gear to be dialed in for late season, so I want to show you things I change for when it gets cold when you're deer hunting. So the first thing that I'm really going to change during my late season hunting is going back from a saddle platform to a stand. There's probably some obvious reasons why. I'm going to have more crap on as far as bulkiness of my clothing. Have bigger boots on. A lot of times I'll be wearing these Baffin boots that have an insert in them, an insulated insert. These are just big and bulky. So having the extra room of the stand is extremely helpful. Something else that, in my mind, helps me in a stand is staying a little bit more still when I'm cold. In a saddle, when I'm cold, I tend to kind of, get a little more fidgety, move my feet around a lot more. Whereas in the stand, I just sit down and kind of be still, and I can endure the cold a little bit better in a stand. Now, that's just me and the way my body works. You may be completely different as far as a stand or versus a saddle goes. So just take that with a grain of salt, just things that I think about. Something else that I'm going to this year get away from on my stand is this strap, your typical cam over pull, or not cam over, just your pull strap. A lot of times when it's cold out, your hands are frozen and you get down this thing, especially these little bitty ones. This is the Beast Gear comes with these little bitty ones now. They're sometimes hard to unclip and they get real tight, and then your hands are cold and you're trying to get them undone, and it's just it can be a big pain. And it's also just another way for I can make noise, right? Those are stealth strips, so they're not going to make much noise. But I'm going to go to this ASIO Gear attachment method for the stand. It's just essentially a Prusik kind of. Gosh, don't quote me on any of this stuff because I'm wrong. It's not a Prusik. It's a different type of knot. But it's a little bit lighter. That's not really why I'm changing. It's because it's a little easier to get undone. Does it get as tight? I don't know. It gets tight enough for me. But I'm going to go to that. I was running that on my saddle platform a lot this year and really liked it. So let's go ahead and put that together here. Just to be transparent with you, the things that are not beneficial about this system, it's a lighter system, so it is a little harder to get around the tree, but it's also a longer rope, so you can get into bigger trees. And I don't know how I'm going to do this on this stand. I think I'm just going to wrap it around off here, and then they put a piece of bungee at the end of it, so you can kind of just slap it wherever. Then that looks good. So going back to the stand for late season, and make sure everything's nice and stealth stripped. It's real quiet. Late season, everything's louder, so you want to make sure everything's nice and quiet. Okay, sticks. I am going to go to 3 sticks with my late season setup with no aiders. The reason is I find more times than not in late season, the higher you get, the more skylit you get, and it's really important to find trees that have a lot of cover in them, and a lot of times the cover isn't real high. So I'm just going to run these 3 latitude sticks this late season. A lot of people are asking me about these. Do I like them better than the bee sticks? Probably not. I like my bee sticks a lot, but for this year I'm going to finish the year off with these and keep testing them through late season. What I do like about them, they are super lightweight. I mean, there is no question about it. They are lightweight. They stack way better than the bee sticks do. You can see how, that's a super small profile. And again, just to reiterate, I like the attachment method because it's an ASIO method. It's quiet. I do have, for my bee sticks, I do have ASIO, I can't remember, the USA system is what it's called by the ASIO guy. But I'm going to finish the season off with these here latitude sticks and just throw those on the stand itself. And I'm just kind of old school with how I attach my stands to my sticks. and I just use bungees, which I have my bungees around here somewhere. Right there they are. And this I stole from Jason at Traditional Bowhunting Wilderness Podcast. I just put a piece of, this is like tubing for like fish tanks and whatnot. And then I just wrap them with stealth strips to quiet them down a little bit. They've worked pretty well. I've had these for probably 3 years now and haven't had to replace them. And so I think I'm just going to, pretty standard, put my do a little crisscross with my strap here, and that's it. Pretty compact and a low profile. I don't know how much this weighs. It's not very much. Let's weigh it real quick. We'll get my scale. 12.9 pounds right there. So 13 pounds. We'll just say 13 pounds. It's pretty good. It's not too bad there. Okay, obviously you need a lot more than just your stand and your sticks for late season. I guess just to go over again why I'm changing this, I just want to reduce the amount of metal. The amount of metal on my gear, because it's going to be cold, my hands are going to be cold, and number two, the space that comes with a stand is nice during late season. And then number three, I feel like I can stay warmer in a stand versus in a saddle, which is why I'm going back to this system for late season hunting. Who knows? I may just use this setup all the time now. It's a pretty slick little system. Put some aiders on those 3 sticks, you get pretty high. I just don't like to run aiders in late season. It's just it tempts me to do something I shouldn't in the tree that late in the year when I have a bunch of bulky clothes on. Speaking of clothes, I'm not going to talk much about clothes on this particular video. It's obvious you got to wear different clothes for late in the year. Something else that's unique about late season for me, I like to get away from running a pack during late season. Let me elaborate. When it gets later in the year, you kind of need less crap. Like, you don't need calls. They really aren't going to come to calls. You know, you don't need all the fancy things that we carry around with us all year. Essentially, in late season, you're trying to be as slick and slim and quiet as possible and hidden as possible, and you're trying to stay as warm as possible. So the more stuff that you bring in with you while you're walking to the tree, you got all that stuff on your back, it's going to be heavier. You're going to therefore produce more sweat or exert more energy, producing more sweat, and then you're going to get cold if you get wet. So that's why I try to reduce my gear during late season to the bare minimum bones. Now, I may have everything I need in the truck in case a scenario would pop up, but when I'm going to the stand for late season, just take what I need. Okay, so what do I substitute for my pack? This is a little ASIO hand muff, and it has a pretty decent sized pocket right here on the front that goes all the way down. You can see, I mean, I can get my whole hand lost in here. So it's a pretty good sized pocket. I would say it's probably maybe 10 inches by 6 inches of gear storage I can have. What do I need for gear late season? What's the essentials? Now, I have camera gear, which I'm not going to go over in this video because it's not applicable to most people. Starting off though, I always like to have a rangefinder. Rangefinder is super important. For me, as a bow hunter, when I'm using traditional bow, compound bow, rifle, I like to have a rangefinder with me. So that lives here in my front pocket there. Let's see what else I got in here. Look here. Look, I got a grunt call. I don't that's garbage for late season to me. That's just taking up extra weight. My saddle here, that will be something that I just wear in. This is my Latitude Method. This has been my favorite saddle that I've tested out so far. And then in these side pockets in the saddle here system, obviously I have my, or what do you call these, dump pouches? I have my ropes for climbing and for my saddle. And then in this pocket here, I have my pull-up rope, and I have an extra little bowl holder that I have a one of these wire nuts on it. Now, let me talk to you about this bowl holder. This bowl holder is made by Cranford, and it's a premium bowl holder. It's not painted like some of these other, cheap Allen screw-in bowl holders. It is it's not painted, and it is super sharp. I mean, it'll grab a fingernail. It's so sharp, like a a knife would. But it's a super quality bowl holder, and you can get these on Amazon or online. They are expensive though, so it's not one you're going to put in a tree and then leave. But I'm telling you, you have no problem get this in the tree. Some of those Allen ones, they're hard to start, and then you're sweating by the time you get your bowl holder in the tree. This little thing here, no problem at all getting it started in the tree. It's super sharp. That's why I have this nut on it to keep it from cutting through my bag here. So that's my bowl holder, and if it's legal where you're at to put a screw in the tree, then that's what I do there. So this will be worn in. Then let's keep on going with my muff here. I don't need a lot of the stuff I have in here because of the late season, like I was just telling you about. Something else though, you do have to have a headlamp, and then I also carry these things with me now. These are pretty cool for late season. These are electric hand warmers, essentially. They're rechargeable, and they last a long time. And then I just have my little Petzl headlamp I'm going to carry with me. These two things right here, I just throw them inside the muff itself, and that's where they live. And then my headlamp is going to go in with my rangefinder. I still like to carry my first aid stuff. It's not first aid really. It's batteries to replace if those go bad in that headlamp. Like I got 3 AA's in here, and then just some toilet paper, because just because it's cold doesn't mean you ain't gonna have to use a bathroom here or there. Make sure that's all nice and snug in there. Wrap them up once, and I also like to put them in as in order of operation of how I may use these things. So the thing I'm going to use the most is going to be probably this headlamp. The thing I'm going to use the least is those batteries, hopefully. So therefore, I'll put them into the pocket in reverse order. So my headlamp's on top there, always ready to go. And then my rangefinder's right there with it. So listen guys, that's kind of my pack for late season. There's not a lot that goes into it. I got toilet paper in there in case I need to use the bathroom. I got batteries, headlamp, rangefinder. Typically in late season, I don't really need water or anything. Water's nice during the rut and whatnot, but late season you're not setting for too awful long. Usually just evening hunts is all. What else can I talk about for late season hunting? That's kind of my switch up of my gear. I got my hand muff with my stuff in it, my beast stand, and latitude sticks going in super light. Got to talk about one other thing and how my system works in late season. So something else that I think is super important for late season is not wearing all your heavy stuff to the stand. And I'll show you how I go about that with my stand and sticks. So I've actually not even worn these yet, but these are the really heavy, ASIO Gear late season stuff. Same with this jacket. This is the late season gear from ASIO. This stuff is super heavy, and you do not want to be wearing this to the stand. You will sweat to no end. And in Indiana, a lot of times I don't need to wear this heavy stuff, but sometimes I do, or if I'm up in Wisconsin hunting or wherever I may be. So, I have this real slim profile stand here, and I'm going to make it not so slim, but I think it's the best option here. I got my separate bungees that are, those really nice heavy-duty rubber ones for keeping my sticks nice and tight. And then all I'm going to do is kind of fold up my ASIO jacket here. Oh, Miss Rosie, it's okay. And then the bibs, same thing. With your bibs though, what I like to do is kind of tuck in my straps so they're not hanging out and like going all over everything, getting caught on things. And then I will actually make sure your straps are up. Straps on your bibs are up so that you're not, they're not falling out the bottom of the the stand. And then I just got one of these kind of cheaper cloth, if you want to say, bungees, and then I just bungee it around my stand, and that's it. And then you got all your gear right here on the stand itself. And when you get to the actual tree you're gonna get into, I like to put my stand and sticks on the tree, get up in the stand, and then put this gear on. So that is my late season setup. Then I have no pack to worry about getting everything nice and hot before I get into the stand. I have less stuff in the tree to making me a little more, less of a profile. And it's just nice not carrying a bunch of crap around in the woods. So that's all I do, guys. A lot of people ask about bowl holders. So my camera arm here actually has a bowl holder on it. So that's what I use most of the time. You can see that camera arm has a bowl holder at the end of it. There's a lot of companies now that make bowl holders for your stand itself. So you may try one of those. Obviously on public land you can't use those screw ends. I just have that in there for if I'm ever on private land. So that's kind of how I'm changing my gear up for late season. Something to think about for you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you would like to subscribe to the channel, hit the button right here. And if you want to watch another video, it's right here.